Hey everyone, welcome to this SUPboarder video where I'm going to be speaking to the man behind the Honu brand, the man who really put Honu on the map since 2019, Mark Travers. He is an incredibly passionate guy that wants to make good quality products, and it's quite clear to see that in the boards we've all reviewed in the past. In this video we speak a bit about him coming into the SUP industry from the bike industry, some insights in what it takes for him to design the boards that we all love. So we hope you enjoy a bit of background insight to the industry and the brand Honu. Of course, if you've got any questions and comments, get them in the comments below. If you've got any of their boards, we'd love to know your feedback because we know there's a lot of happy Honu customers out there around the world. So great for you to be here, Mark. Thanks for coming down to see us at SUPboarder HQ. I'm going to jump straight in there because we noticed a massive change for Honu from 2019.
Yes.
Because that is when you came into the brand's life, didn't you?
Yeah, we actually bought the brand in 2019 and I was under strict instructions by Megan, my wife, to run the brand as it was.
Oh yeah.
Just run it. And we did do that for a very short amount of time. And but unfortunately I wasn't very happy with what I saw, and so I actually turned the place upside down.
Because it was an Australian-based brand.
It was an Australian-based brand. It was started in Bondi and by a French backpacker, so the story is real. And we bought the brand and bought the business thinking that the products were sorted. Yeah, hadn't quite appreciated that I would be so unhappy with the products. Because
actually you're an engineer, aren't you?
Yes.
At heart, you're an engineer. You want good quality products, whatever they are, mountain biking or any industry.
Yeah.
It's about quality. And that's one thing that they didn't have, did they?
No, not at all. And I was pretty unhappy about it. So it was, it was mediocre. It wasn't total rubbish, but there's just something in me about, trying to make things as good as they possibly can be. And then I feel that I can justify being an evangelist for it. So, and I personally just find it very hard to use price as a differentiating factor. It's, Yeah, so
because for many of us in Europe, we weren't really aware of the brand then.
Yeah,
I mean they had internet, they were there. And in the paddleboard sector, they were quite early on actually.
Yep.
But the first time we came to see them in real life is when you definitely had your hands on the board.
Yeah.
Because we reviewed them back in, was it 2020? Was it 2020?
I think so.
And we were very impressed with the quality of the boards from our sense, almost a new brand, but it wasn't really a new brand. It was a name, but you worked it up from the bottom up.
Yeah.
The boards were new.
Yeah, the only thing we actually kept was the name. So hindsight's a wonderful thing. We ended up buying a business and the only thing we kept was the name. So
which was known in Australia.
Yeah. So, but of course, you don't know what you don't know until you get started, and that's sort of how it goes. So I very quickly, put myself through carbon composite school and fluid dynamics and working out all the ins and outs of actually composite boards initially. And people in the surf industry don't like hearing this, but bikes and surfboards have a lot of similarities, and that's actually where my knowledge and in product design came from. So a lot of my thinking early on was very much bike design thinking. So light, stiff, strong, minimal sort of designs and logos, and that's I think why when we did actually do that relaunch, it all looked a bit sort of different. Because we are a bit different.
It was really clear to see that there was somebody who really thought about this product.
Yeah.
It wasn't because at that point, 2020, and even before, we're getting a lot of brands coming to us. A lot of just mass market, just
oh really?
It's just another inflatable paddleboard, but it was very different.
Yeah.
It was very clear that they were very different, and moving them on to sort of the newer generation of your boards.
Yes.
Because we've just unpacked this. I've just done a review for this. We've got the Sorrento, the new Bondi, which is a phenomenal, outstanding surfing SUP. Yeah. Sorrento, we're going to get into that one soon. Yeah. You've done a lot more work into these boards.
Yeah.
In the last few years.
Yeah, this Bondi, this board here is actually nearly broke me. Actually, if I was really honest about it. So this was on my list to design in late 2022.
Okay,
And so
yeah.
by early 2023, we'd actually started. And so it's actually north of 18 months, start to finish, that it took developing this, multiple iterations.
Because everything's new on this board.
Yes.
Apart from the deck pad, possibly.
Absolutely everything's new.
Construction, drop stitch, different?
No, so it's a different thickness.
Different
but
thickness.
It's the same woven, material that we use across the range. We've put our welded rails, welded carbon rails.
Welded carbon rails.
Yeah.
And you've got string up here.
Yes. Yeah. This is really hard to do. This is not easy, and it takes about 3 people on the machine. The machine runs very, very slowly, and it's hot.
Yeah.
And it actually, if you think back to the first Sorrento, and we had welded rails there, we've incrementally improved every year. We keep getting better at doing that. And so this one, we're running at it's like a foot a minute, right? And it runs at 400 degrees. And you've got all these people on the tools, and it's a one shot, right? So if you mess it up, you've messed the board.
You can't re-weld it.
No,
you've got to do it one way.
No. And so hopefully what you'll see is that you'll see that the lines are just beautifully straight, and it's just really well finished.
So incredibly stiff, and that works. And you've got that on the new Sorrento as well.
Yes.
Have you got that on some of the other boards as well?
Just the Sorrento. Yeah.
And the other one, which I know you said almost broke you early on, is the fin box.
Yes.
The fin boxes.
Yeah.
Because that's when we unpack this board and ride this board, it really does surf a lot better because of the work that's gone into the fin boxes, and obviously the fins and the shapes and the abilities. You can change it and ride it as a 2+1 or a twin fin.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fin boxes, that was another. How do you go about designing something like that, as a designer's point of view? I mean, what are the stages that the processes you go into to do that?
Just the fin boxes or the board itself. I mean, if we start from the board holistically, you start with the end in mind, and like what we're trying to achieve. And I sort of sat down and I wanted to create a surfing SUP that was as close as possible to a high performance composite board.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it without compromise. And so the way I kind of started is literally by ignoring everything that was out there, including our existing Bondi. We just completely started from scratch.
Yeah, because it would have been if you got a bit of a template, you can sort of change things from there, but you decided to just not look at it.
Totally from scratch, and really sort of almost went into isolation about sort of what it should be. So the shape itself, took a fair bit of time just to decide on the shape, and then actually did a bit of testing, and then we refined that a little bit. Then again, the rocker. So it took us about a year to get the board right, and we couldn't start the fin boxes until we had the board right. Yeah. And the reason being is I actually wanted to get the fin boxes as close to the rail as possible, as close to the rail edge as possible, and I also wanted them to hold the board's rocker, not try and press it out.
Oh, okay, that's something we've never thought about.
Yeah,
so that actually...
So these fin boxes you can't put on any other board, because the bottom of the fin box is actually curved and it matches the board.
Wow, I did not notice that.
Yeah. So I'd have to send you one, and you can sit it on a table, and it's all wonky. And they're left and right, and they're for this size board.
Really? So the bigger one?
Yeah.
That's stuff you don't realise, is it?
Yeah. That's so everything on here is actually, a lot of the design is about holding the board shape, and it does this really cool thing actually when you deflate it. When you suck the air out of it, it actually pulls up into its rocker, and so you can actually see that it wants to be actually curved and doesn't want to be flat. Because in many instances with inflatables, the natural state of the board wants to be flat, and you're forcing it into a shape. Yeah. So this is actually quite different. So and it's the way that when we put the carbon stringers on, it's really important that we don't do that flat. So we put the rocker into the board, then the carbon goes on. And so if you can imagine, you've got two substrates or two pieces of material, and you want to bend it. Well, one actually has to crumple, or it has to move.
Yes.
In relation to each other.
Yeah.
So even the stringer, it's not actually necessarily about keeping the board stiff. That's what the rails are for, but that helps hold the rocker line.
Oh, so that's a rocker line.
Yeah, so it's really a rocker line thing. Yeah.
God, there's a lot of stuff I can see. So you can it's great talking to you, because you can see all the passion and the engineering really that's gone into just this product alone, and let alone you've got the other products as well. Yeah. But they're definitely the surfing SUPs is sort of hard to do.
Very hard.
They're very hard to do. And there are some really great surfing SUPs out there, and I'm happy to say yours is up there.
Yeah.
If not, oh God, potentially the best one, maybe for a different sized person, but I think this is definitely one of the best surfing SUPs up there, that from the design work that's gone into it, but also the fact that you can ride it as a twin fin.
Yeah.
So you've designed the different fins.
Yes.
They're your own fins as well?
Yes.
And the fin boxes, so you haven't even talked about the fin boxes, so that's the shapes of the fin boxes.
Yeah.
So
they're slightly, they've got like they're dihedral, so they just create a bit of drive.
And because straight away when we unroll stuff like that and we get new products out, half of you is like, oh, that's cool, and half of you's like, oh, how long is it going to last? Is it going to break? You know, did you do a lot of test work, stress testing on those fin boxes?
There's actually a video of me in my garden, which is going to be released. We're going to do a video where I'm going to talk about the making of the Bondi and how it nearly destroyed me. But there's a video of me in my back garden, and I've got fins glued all over a random board. I think it's an old Bondi actually. Yeah. And I've got a big 4-pane hammer, and I've got fins in, and I'm basically trying to break it. And I'm just literally going to town, and fin boxes are flying off, and fins are breaking. And because
obviously there's a lot of them. It's not just a block of plastic. There's a lot of stuff that we don't see. No, just like the rails.
Exactly. Yeah. And the early. So the fin boxes on here are version 14. So it took 14 versions to get it right, and I did actually break some of the early ones actually, and I did. You know, I was like, all right, okay, we're going to change that. We're going to do this.
It's a lot.
So yeah.
So what people have got to understand about this, they might do now, is you are the man behind this brand. Really, it's pretty much on you and your wife's shoulders, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So just for us to give it a bit of context, that's a really hard thing to do, to produce this level of quality of boards.
Yeah.
And to be produced and go around the world and be available in shops and online, and so congratulations for that.
Oh, thanks.
You've obviously come a long way since 2019.
Yeah.
So for you've obviously got to juggle a lot of balls.
Yes.
With your launches of boards, I think earlier you said to me you can do them in batches or 3-year cycles. Is that what it is? And so some of the range, you'll notice some of the range this year has changed. So we've got new Sorrento, and some won't. Yeah. And that's great for several reasons. It's great for the environment, great for people selling stuff, and also it means that you can focus on really getting stuff right, which is your big passion, isn't it?
Yeah. So, the planned obsolescence is something even the bike industry. It was actually invented by the bike industry. Funnily enough, it truly was. And I actually got suckered into it early on, even when I took on Honu. And that was in part because the moment you design a product and it's live, you just start seeing things you want to change and improve. So very quickly you can get into this trap of like continually changing. So we're locked in now. We'll do 3-year cycles. So we won't even change the color for 3 years. And so folks, they just gives them a level of confidence that we're just not doing the iPhone thing,
it is a problem, isn't it? It is a problem. I think now people in this day and age, they want quality, they want well designed, thought out, and they will wait for a product. We got a lot of really that wait. They're like, fine, I'll wait. Yeah. I don't want to just, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
And also for you, so you make sure something's right before it comes to market.
Yeah.
Because like you said, this alone, let alone the Sorrento and all the other shapes, that you could have probably brought it out earlier. I know we were having Skype calls. You were like, I've got something coming. It's going to be so good.
This was so late.
Yeah, but I want to tell you, but I can't. Yeah. And at that point, we'd have iSUP surf tests out. That must have been really horrible actually seeing that.
Yeah, that killed me actually. I was just like, damn it. But you can't short circuit though. You can't shortcut. Yeah, you just have to say the course and. But it's funny, every time I send you guys a board, I'm always nervous.
A lot of people are, don't worry.
I'm just sweating, sweating bullets. And
everybody, we speak to a lot of people that have that. I like sort of like that, Well, it's, you've got to deserve it. You can't just get. That's proofs in pudding, proofs in the riding on that one. So the boards definitely have got a huge amount of engineering.
Yep.
Also, another message that is very clear. That was a massive change in 2019 on the website and stuff. It's about the environmental credibility, which is what we all should be doing as standard. It's just another thing you've got to think about. And I know you actively are pushing towards more of that. Yeah. Naturally, in the brand.
Yeah. Look, I don't actually think we're doing anything that special. I just think, like you say, we're just good citizens. So we try not to use plastic. We've got the accessory box.
Yeah.
We just do things. We avoid plastic as much as we can, and where we have used it, we use biodegradable bags.
I noticed that, yeah.
And actually, the mistake, I noticed your unboxing video, I actually hit the roof because it wasn't actually meant to have that plastic bag on the board. But it is a biodegradable bag.
It did look like a biodegradable.
No, it is, yeah. But it should say, hey, I'm biodegradable. At least let people know. Because I'm looking at it going, oh, it's a total failure. As far as I'm concerned, like we've done all these great things and put a ruddy, great big plastic bag around the board.
Yeah, I did look at it. Yeah, that's definitely a biodegradable bag. But straight away I was like, I've got a bag to put my wetsuit in, is what I was thinking. I keep my bags going. But I know that, the environment, it's hard because you want to praise companies like you, but at the same time, it should just be done. Like you just exactly like you just said.
Yeah, it should be done. So we do that, and the other thing we do is we are like offsetting our supply chain. So we from sea freight into our warehouse, and then from warehouse to customer, we're actually all of that sort of supply chain emissions are basically offset. And we're doing and we're doing some stuff I love because I'm a geeky engineer. So instead of just planting trees, we do a little bit of that, but that's, planting trees is all a bit of ho-hum, isn't it?
It's all about I remember, how big is a tree? Where is it going? Is it going to die after a week?
I know. So we actually, there are a few engineering projects out there in the world that are taking a more engineered mechanical way of like pulling carbon out of the air, like they pull it out of the air and create these like carbon bricks, and then makes building materials. The thing about environmental, and reducing our footprint is all about experimenting with different ideas and different avenues. So I kind of like, being that we're so like technically orientated, I like that we are supporting some of those projects that are taking just a totally different approach to just greening, which obviously greening's perfectly
it's a bit
wonderful.
Of everything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just belt and braces.
Yeah. So you've come from the bike industry before the SUP industry.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've had knowledge of manufacturing in those industry. How was it to come into the SUP industry at more of the factories and that higher level?
Some of my insights are a bit harsh, actually.
Okay.
If I was in truth, I have a pretty hard view of this. Surfing industry, and by extension, paddleboard industry, I do feel is a little bit behind. They're a bit behind in their technology. They're behind in their brand perception and how they market
mindset
out there. And you see surfing industries at the moment getting into all kinds of strife about how they sort of portray the industry. So I think there's obviously a lot more money in bikes, so there's a lot more investment in bikes. But I was surprised to some extent how agricultural it really was.
Oh, really, yeah.
And it took me several trips and lots of visits and to sort of find my way to the right sort of parts of and the right manufacturing partners.
Yeah, because the brand you bought before wasn't where it wanted to be, was it? So again, you started from the ground up.
Yeah. So we never made a single. No, so that's actually not true. We did make some product with the existing suppliers, like the very very first order, and then I met a Hawaiian industry veteran actually, and he started to be my boots on the ground and connect me with various people. And so I think it's all about, for me, a well set up manufacturing facility has, various levels of QC and a very staged approach, and everything's very, organized and orderly, and probably, lots of brands will talk about, temperature controlled and humidity controlled, and of course we do that as well, and that's okay. But for me, the thing I like the most about our factory is that the staff are all paid a wage and not on a unit basis. And this might be a bombshell for some folks out there, that all the factories pay their staff on a unit basis, so they are incentivized to smash stuff out as fast as they can. Yeah, and so our manufacturing partner is the only one that doesn't do that. Right?
Well, we definitely, I can see that,
and that matters to me. Like, it's really important in. Yeah.
Well, you're going to you just want the quality. Just want the quality.
They've got KPIs and they've got all those things you'd expect, but they care about their people. The people have all been there for decade plus.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's
because a lot of it is it's a real skill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you're saying about the welding.
Yeah.
And obviously, coming from the bike industry, it's holding process of making an inflatable paddleboard, isn't it?
And
then you've got to sort of, I imagine, listen to them, and because they're the experts at that point. And then suddenly it's flipped now, and like, okay, you're the expert now.
Yeah.
You know how you want things to be made.
Yeah.
So it must have been a period of where you had to sort of bite your tongue a little bit, but now you know. These are the standards I expect.
Yes.
And they know as well, because it's proven in the boards that we see here that comes out, and it's like.
The more recent boards, like in the early development, I would actually go out and the production manager and myself would be discussing things, and he would actually suggest ideas to help with durability. It's quite commonly his drive is about durability, and so there's a few things even on the Bondi that he actually suggested we should do, and I wasn't keen actually initially. But they've made it through and they're on.
So that's nice to hear. As a sort of the way they're thinking is better, isn't it? The factories themselves, they are actually, but it's like brands like yourself who are at the forefront, pushing them to think like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to get them to change and to think in it. And I think it's a great thing, because there's a lot of inflatable paddleboards sitting around the world.
Yes, in warehouses,
unused. And it's really important that what the ones come out and come to production, they are top quality and they get used and they last as long as possible.
Yeah, well, that's going back to the environmental thing. That is the number one thing. Make it last as long as possible.
Actually, just you saying that reminded me. You actually didn't you have a very early on your repair service, didn't you? Or you had something?
No, I still do it.
You still do it.
I still do it. Yeah.
So you're the only brands that
So we
that was in Australia only at the moment. Or is
no. I'll do it anyway. Okay. Yeah. So I've got UK everywhere. So we will. For whatever reason, like I'm quite committed to keeping the boards floating, and we'll get them repaired, because it's a rare thing. It's not very common, and I mean, why wouldn't we help customers out?
Yeah.
Like, for me, I want to make sure that people that are Honu customers actually feel like they're part of something, and I want them to feel like, okay, we don't have a physical store for them to walk into, but we can still look after them just the same. And if we did have a store, and somebody walked in with your product and said, "Oh, hey, Reuben, I've got this problem with the board. Can you help me out?" You'd fix it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we do the same. We just have to do it. Yeah. It's a little bit more clunky and mechanical, but we have to get it packed up and sent somewhere. But yeah, we do the repair, send it back, no charge.
So you get what's your warranty on these boards anyway?
4 years.
4 years is standard.
Yep.
And then you can do that. How long would that free repair be for?
Well, we say 4 years, but yeah, look, I mean, if somebody still had our board, we'd still do it. I mean, why wouldn't we?
That is. Well, I remember seeing that a few years ago. That's a really great thing, isn't it? Yeah, that really keeps that. But like you said, we've got one that's been sat outside a Byron since that original review, and we use it all the time.
Yeah, nice.
And it just gets treated like absolute rubbish, but it doesn't ask anything back. Still there.
Yeah, Byron's. We've never had a single person that has never sent back a Byron ever, because they didn't like it. So sometimes Sorrento, someone will say, "Oh, it's too tippy," and we'll swap it out. But we've never had a Byron come back. Yeah, ever.
No, it's a great staple board, isn't it?
Yeah.
Boards.
Yeah.
So for people getting hold of your boards, we've heard of lots of very happy customers. How would they go about getting hold of the board, and maybe even demoing a board? How is best to do that?
Yeah, well, I think most of our customers buy through us directly, but we do have various SUP schools and rental fleets kicking around the world. The UK, we're down in Portland with OTC. We've got a school down in Melbourne, in Victoria. Yeah. We've actually got a SUP rental place in Colorado. We're about to open our first retail partner actually in the USA, up in Maine. You'll be able to test the gear. Yeah. Really, really, passionate people that look after their customers. Yeah. So they're the right fit for us. Yeah. And so our boards will be there. And online is still the way that you're going to get to many of the customers at the moment around the world. Absolutely. Yeah. And we're slowly growing our retail partner network, but I am actually horribly picky, and we get approached every week. Yeah. Multiple times, but it's generally a default no, but it's slowly we'll have more and more sort of physical locations. And so they're available to buy pretty much all around the world. Pretty much all around the world. Yeah. So Europe, UK, obviously the USA, North America, and we're also shipping to UAE and look, at the moment, like when people call, there's a very high chance they'll actually speak with me, and I actually talk with people. So very early in the morning, I speak with people in the USA, and then sort of 8-9 o'clock at night, I'll be speaking with people in Europe, and I actually really enjoy it. I think actually what you've
said there is hit a nail on the head of why the products actually work, because you're so connected to, because you're a relatively small company.
Yeah.
You're so connected at the grass level, as in you're designing it.
Yeah.
Like for instance, we'll give you feedback, say I don't like that, do like that. Other people give you feedback, and then you just go in and change it.
It all gets logged.
The proof's in the boards that we've seen here.
Yeah.
So it's nice to really feel and meet you now, and the passion and the design behind this brand, because it's something I don't think a lot of people realise.
Yeah.
What goes into
a
high level SUP company.
Yeah.
Especially one that's innovating like you are as well.
Yeah.
So you should be proud of it. You know, so I know it's a lot to do, a lot to work out and stuff, but from our point of view, we can't wait to see, hate to say it, more innovation.
Yeah. Yes.
no, put the pressure on, but you know, when stuff comes out like the Bondi, you're just like, oh.
Well, actually, the next thing
next?
The next is actually the paddle. I've got some ideas to improve the actual handle part of the paddle.
Okay, because that really hasn't really been changed.
So I think we can do something that's going to make it considerably better and feel more like a one-piece paddle once it's all together. But,
you've already got the best 5-piece paddle we've ever seen. It is 5-piece, isn't it?
No, it's 4.
Is it 4? Well, I remember that in the compact test.
Yeah,
All the testers were like, where's the paddle? Yeah, I love that one.
It's a good. It is a nice. I'm actually really proud of that paddle. That took again a lot of thought, and I didn't want to do 5 pieces. I thought 4 was, it would still have a solid feel, and that hex joint obviously.
The way it all fit together, it was just.
Yeah, and they're all now paddles are all mated pairs, right? So the fit and the connection's also precise. It's because it's actually made as a mated pair. So you can't mix and match them.
Okay.
Yeah. That's obviously a little bit of a downside, because if you break
a section,
But I mean, we break one paddle in 1,000. I mean, it's not. Wow. Yeah, it's not very common.
So hopefully some paddle development. We look forward to seeing that.
Yep.
And I look forward to seeing the continuation of the boards.
Yeah. There's a couple of interesting things in the development pipeline.
Yeah, I think you should be proud of the brand. We're really impressed with it. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you so much for having me.